Aston Villa 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Another defeat for Wolves, who are still searching for their first league win of the season. And we now sit bottom of the Premier League table on goal difference after other results today. We cannot afford to be going ahead in football matches and throwing it away. That's 2 weeks running now for Wolves. Real Jekyll and Hyde type performances where we're playing really good football, playing really well, and completely throwing it away. Today is probably the worst type of sort of difference in performance from half to half that I've seen in a long, long time from Wolves. But I don't know whether it's fitness or what the problem is with Wolves at the moment, because you look at the level of performance predominantly in the Chelsea game, where we played quite well in the first half, completely fell to bits in the second half. The Newcastle game where we had strong spells, we did have to grow into that game. But today, we looked head and shoulders above Aston Villa in terms of quality in the first half. And the second half, I don't know what on earth happened. Villa looked so much better than us in the second half. I mean, I've got the first half versus second half stats here, but first half, Wolves 59% possession, 10 shots to Aston Villa's 41% and 2 shots. Second half, Wolves didn't even put a shot on goal at all throughout the second half, whereas Villa had 7 shots in total. Villa having 70% possession in that second half. And I know Wolves, it was put out in the press this week, they're still backing Gary O'Neill. I fully appreciate that, but that's one win in 16, one win in 17 games now if we're sort of looking back at last season as well. And ultimately, it's not good enough. Things do have to improve. I know the fixture list isn't looking too kind for Wolves, but certainly we've got to, for me, get into November. I think that's when they'll give him till at least. We've got to get to November with our heads above the water. If we're sort of 3 to 6 points adrift by November, serious questions have got to be asked. And Molineux is going to become very toxic over the next few weeks, and the fan base is going to become very toxic, even more than it is right now, if things don't improve rapidly. Look, let's start with the first half, because I think it was a positive first half. The goal was taken really well. The high press from the forward players caused Aston Villa an issue. They're trying to play it out the back, similar to how Wolves have. And Diego Carlos loses out on the ball. Cunha, nice little roll of the ball under his studs and hits it really sweetly on the edge of the box. We do see Cunha almost mishit those at times and drag shots wide, or don't quite get the sweetness on the shot that he wants. But today he hits it really nicely, and it was a really beautiful strike to give us the lead, and well placed. He looked good. In the remainder of the first half, it was as if we were in the 90th minute and 3-0 up. Like Villa were penned back in their own half. Away from home, Wolves are in complete control of the game. Even Villa went down to sort of 10 men for the last 3 or 4 minutes of the second half, and we were first half, and we're just knocking the ball about. Maybe we should have sort of put our foot down on the accelerator a little bit more and try and find that second goal. But ultimately, we looked extremely comfortable, and Villa just wanted to get to that second half. Second half, it looked like a completely different team was playing. It looked like, I don't know, a non-league team had rocked up to Villa Park, because the quality of football was atrocious. Now, I know some players are going to be cautious, because we had a lot of bookings, early bookings today. Aït-Nouri, Semedo, Lamina and João Gomez, probably most notably, on bookings. So there were at times where they've had to sort of shy out of tackles, which I appreciate. But then it's up to Gary O'Neill to figure out a way to play or make the right tactical changes and substitutions to allow us to have an outlet and to allow us to sort of get away with those 50-50s if we come out on the wrong side of them. Didn't quite work out today. Even at 0-0, he brings on Gonzalo Gedge for Strand Larsen, which at the time I wasn't fully against. Gedge put in an okay performance against Brighton, but I thought Strand Larsen he held the ball up well. He chased lost causes a lot more, and that substitution, I think a few fans online are already upset about. But really, Villa changed the game when that super sub, the John Duran, came on. He's been very, very good for him. We spoke about it on the match preview. He came on and changed the game really for Villa, going up front with Ollie Watkins, and they caused us all sorts of problems. Their first goal, albeit in my opinion coming from quite a lucky deflection, but Wolves just panicking and didn't really know how to clear their lines. Falls quite nicely to one of the players to play through to Ollie Watkins. Dawson puts the tackle in, it deflects off Dawson and goes in. Would it have gone in? Without the tackle, maybe still. But obviously the deflection takes it away from Sam Johnston. The other two are poor, to be completely honest. I think the second goal for Konsa, Lamina's got to be tracking him a little bit better. But, anyway, there was another Villa attacker completely unmarked running onto it as well. And then the third goal is just I think where we lost our heads and we're sort of pushing to try and get back into the game. But referring back to the stats that I said earlier, to be so in control of a football match for 45 minutes and then be the complete opposite, something's wrong. I don't know whether it's the words and something that Gary O'Neill has said at half time. I don't know whether it's the fitness level of the players, but I hate to compare them because Gary O'Neill I really, really like and I really want it to work. But there's a lot of parallels here with Bruno Lage's, at the end to Bruno Lage's time at Wolves. There were some good moments but some really poor moments. But it was ultimately the fitness level of these players which really let them down, because we've got top quality players here that are starting to get frustrated, but also some that can't play at their best for 90 minutes. Look, I'm not expecting you to play at your full peak of athletic and physical, mental and technical level for 90 minutes. That's never going to happen. But we need a hell of a lot more than 50 to 60 minutes. And ultimately, I think that's what is letting Wolves down a lot at the moment. But ultimately, Villa are a lot better than us. I think as a Villa fan at half-time, you're probably concerned that maybe your luck had ran out slightly because, like we said on the preview, they played poorly in some games, but ultimately came out on the winning side. Like last week, they were 2-0 down and came back and beat Everton. But that's the sign of a good team at the moment. Even when, you're not at your best, you grab the game by the scruff of the neck. And even when we've been behind or when we've been struggling in games, we haven't been able to do that. Just saying, let's calm down. Let's get the momentum swing back in our favour. But just really poor losses of possession. I don't know. Just frustrating. It's just not clicking. Not taking the chance. We had a couple of great chances in the first half, and I think we could have been 2 or 3 up at half time. 2 definitely. We had a couple of good chances. But another very, very tough game. Liverpool next week at Molineux under the lights. They've just come off the back of a really solid win against Bournemouth. But something needs to improve quickly for Wolves. And I know there's going to be a lot of disappointed fans. Probably going to be a lot of you in the comment section down below calling for the manager's head. Still think it's a tiny bit too soon. But certainly something needs to change. Will he go to the back 5? Possibly next week against Liverpool. It might be the time to do that. But ultimately a really frustrating performance. It's finished Aston Villa 3, Wolves 1. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll catch you next time.